everyone. Yes, I see those chit chats, the critics in the chat. Please keep them coming. Welcome to the South African Education Research Association, SAERA's ECR Early Career Researchers webinar series. I just want to thank you for enrolling and for showing up. It's really my pleasure to welcome you all. My name is Mphoentle Modise. I am an ECR representative in the SAERA Executive Committee. Today we are talking mentorship, but I'm not going to say anything. Our facilitator will take you through that. I just want to acknowledge Professor Maureen Robinson, the president of SAERA, and Professor Sean Simmons, also the vice president of SAERA. I just want to begin by thanking you, professors, for the vision of SAERA ePortfolio, ECR ePortfolio, and also for supporting us, the ECRs of this country. You're always showing up in our webinars, in our events. It really shows that ECR is at the heart of SAERA. Without taking much time, just small house rules. Please, colleagues, if you can just mute your mics while our presenters are speaking, we'll appreciate that. If all possible, you could also switch off your videos during the presentation. Sometimes they can take over and interfere with the presentations. I just want to also ask you to please tell us where you're joining us from. I know that we've got colleagues that are registered from Malawi, from Ghana, Lesotho, Namibia, Mauritius, to mention a few. Please say in the chat your name, your institution, and where you are joining us from so that we can acknowledge you and celebrate your presence. Over to you, our facilitator, Thomas Salmon. He's actually one of the brains behind the ECR portfolio in the SAERA organization. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mphoentle, and it's a real privilege to be helping to introduce this fantastic webinar, and a very big welcome to everyone who is joining us today for this open webinar. And I think it speaks to how much fantastic work is happening to collaboratively put early career researchers into a great position through the work that SAERA is doing. And Mphoentle, is the representative for SAERA, has organized such a fantastic webinar for us today. So my job will be very simple: to introduce our speaker today and quickly to explain some of the topics. So we're focusing today on early career researchers, and ECRs are, according to SAERA's constitution, those who have completed a PhD within the last 5 years, and people who are still pursuing doctoral studies or master's studies or a postdoc. And that essentially means people who are early in their career coming into academia. And what we are hoping to do with the work of the representative that Mphoentle is doing is organizing in ways to support early career researchers in finding their way through to their careers later. And to support early career researchers, we know that mentoring is a really important aspect. And so this topic is really important. I mean, as it says in the flyer, nearly every successful person has acknowledged having someone as a mentor to help them. And the goal of mentoring is to develop by drawing on the wisdom and experience of someone who has gone before you. And this means that it's collaborative, and it is something that both the mentor and the mentee can benefit from. And we know from research that there are benefits, evidence of benefits to mentorship for many early career researchers, but in South Africa, it's not always easy to find or access a mentor. And so we are thinking about this today to unpack what mentorship means, what is the purpose, and the ways that we can find a mentor that will help support that journey. And today our speaker is Prof van den Berg. Prof van den Berg is a full professor in the Department of Curriculum and Instructional Studies at the University of South Africa, UNISA, and a Commonwealth of Learning Chair in Open and Distance Learning for Teacher Education. Her research focuses on student interaction, academic capacity building, and openness in education, and teachers' use of technology in open and distance learning. And she's published widely as an author and co-author with colleagues and students in curriculum studies and open distance learning, and her work appears in many papers and book chapters. And currently, she is the program manager of the Structured Masters in Education Open Distance Learning and teaches 2 modules in the program. And numerous masters and doctoral students have completed their studies under her supervision. And so today she's going to speak about this topic for us. And after she has given her input, we will have time to ask questions, and Dr. Mphoentle will respond to as the mentee to the keynote speaker's input, and then we'll have then Q&A after that. So about 25 minutes for Q&A after the 2 speakers have finished. So we hope to sort of understand a little bit more clearly through this how mentors and mentees can work together, and how mentors can be found, and what benefits can be drawn from that relationship for both. And so without further ado, having introduced both Prof Berg and the topic quickly of mentoring, I would be glad to ask Prof, are you ready to start with the first part?
Good afternoon, Thomas. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes,
Okay.
we can hear
I'm
you.
going to share my screen and see if I can put on my video and so on. So
Okay.
see.
And lovely to see everyone's welcome messages coming in. Feel free to put questions in the chat. If you have questions, we will pick them up at the end. So don't worry if you want to put them in the chat as we go. But just remember to put your mics off during the session. Thank you. Prof, shall I close off?
Just a moment. Let me just share again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sharing the wrong screen, right?
I see the screen.
You don't see my presentation mode.
I see not in the big. It's not in the biggest possible presentation mode.
Just a moment. Sorry.
Sure. No, don't worry. But while you are doing that, I'll just remind everyone for the participants. So Prof will speak about this topic as the mentor, as she has also been a mentor for Dr. Mphoentle, and Dr. Mphoentle as a mentee will then reply, and it will be in that form a discussion. So if you have questions about either part, please write them in the chat so that we can pose them to our speakers today at the end in the Q&A session. That looks perfect. Now we have yes, Prof, it looks good now.
Okay, there you go. Sorry about that. Just needed to figure out the screen. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you so much. And you can see my face as well. So I've got a face as well. Thank you so much for this opportunity to do this, or to be part of this webinar. And a special thank you to the Sahara leadership, Prof Maureen and Prof Shan Simmons, if you're in the house. So that's excellent to see you. It was excellent to see your names. And yeah, thank you for this wonderful initiative of the Early Career Researchers webinar series. Thank you, Mphoentle. Great that you were able to organize this and to actually provide a platform for these kinds of discussions. As you said already, Thomas, I think every one of us was having an advanced career or aware of our mentors in our lives. So for me, I'm very passionate about this topic, not only because I'm a mentor at the moment, but also because I've had mentors in my life who really influenced my career and who actually made me, I think, the academic I am at the moment. So I will share my story, and I'm really looking also forward to interaction and questions so that we can actually have a kind of a discussion on this topic. So just by way of then structure of this presentation, I will start by just a brief introduction, then followed by sharing the different kinds of mentorships that are possible, benefits, of course, of effective mentorships when they work, and also touch on the mentorship challenges that one comes across or can come across, and then the key to effective mentorship before I'll share a little bit about my own experiences of choosing a mentor, and also a little bit about my mentees that I have at the moment, and then conclude. So by way of introduction, just to share a little bit of where the word mentor comes from. It's more than 3,000-year-old term that has been used, and it's been said that the origin of the word comes from Odysseus, who had a friend, and his name was Mentor. And when Odysseus had to go to the Trojan War, he actually trusted his friend Mentor with his son. So that's where this word comes from, and since then it has been a practice. So it comes a long way. And then I've read some work on Penner. It's a Canadian who works in higher education. He did quite a bit of writing on mentorship in higher education. So the synonyms he's giving for a mentor is a role model, a coach, a guide, a promoter, a friend, and an advisor, which is quite a mouthful, I think. What is important to realize that mentoring provides first an instrumental or career function. So this is with regard to a mentee needing promotion, for example, or qualification needs to have another qualification, or is looking for research outputs, or if you're in a South African context, you are looking for NRF rating or grants applications for research, etc. And then secondly, it is an intrinsic or psychosocial function that a mentor has. And these, for me, these two roles or functions are linked and they need to work together. And this is then, of course, the more social role or psychological role to serve as a mentor or a confidant or a friend for a mentee. Mentoring is power-free, and this is how it differs from having a line manager or a head of department, etc. There shouldn't be any power play. Nobody should feel threatened in this relationship. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to have this kind of relationship. And it is a very unique partnership between two individuals. It's personal because every mentor-mentee relationship is very unique and personal. And of course, it is because both of the mentor and mentee need growth to a certain extent. So it's not only for the mentee to grow in this process, it is always also hope that the mentor is also growing as a result of the relationship. Sorry. And then mentorship is built on support. It needs to have a supportive environment, and then trust. Trust for me is a keyword in a mentor-mentee relationship. If you share something with a mentor, you need to trust that mentor. Otherwise, you won't share what you really mean and what you really need. And the other way around as well. So if you don't have that trust relationship, it's also going to be a challenge in such a relationship. So yeah, it's more than just a work relationship. It's actually has many dimensions and it's quite complex. There are different kinds of mentorships, and I'm referring to then mostly to our key performance areas that one has in a university setup. So the first one is then touching on teaching and learning mentorship. This is mostly academic in nature. This is specifically if you as a mentee you are looking for somebody who can help you in your discipline or in your subject. For instance, you're teaching mathematics and you need support and leadership on how to teach mathematics, maybe the pedagogy thereof, or specific subject knowledge or how to teach it. So that's mentorship that you need in a specific subject. That kind of relationship. Secondly, research mentorships. This is I know this is a research environment. This is specifically a relationship between a mentor and mentee, where you're looking for somebody who's strong in research. So you will typically, as a mentee, look for somebody who has published widely, somebody who is a discipline expert, although this is not really necessary. Sometimes it's somebody that works in a field that is strong in the methodology, for example, that you're looking for. Say, for instance, you are a quantitative researcher and you are aware of somebody who is strong in quantitative research, then that's a possible mentor. And of course, you can act as a co-author with a mentor in research publications or publishing research. So this is this mentorship relationship is focused on research. Next, you might also be looking for somebody who can help you with your career, different career paths that you're looking for. Say, for instance, you're focusing on teaching and learning, or you're focusing on research and you want to move into that leadership roles or focusing in these fields, then it might be good to have a mentor that can help you with setting your career in that direction that you're looking for. Of course, if you're a young academic, you want to build your CV and you want to have something to add to your CV, so then it's good to have somebody that can assist you in CV building. And then networking. That's quite an important aspect of mentorship relationships. If you're looking for a mentor, then you also will have those kinds of networks that this person has established. And these networks can be LinkedIn networks. They can be networks that are discipline-based. These can also be within the university. So you need people with specific networks that can also help you build your career. The next kind of relationship then is personal development mentorships. And this is something I think after COVID has become quite prominent and important. It's more focused on soft skills, helping you with skills building, for instance, problem-solving skills, time management skills, planning your research career, etc. Personal goal setting that you might need assistance with. and then maintaining a healthy work-life balance. And those of us who work in front of computers so many hours will be aware of the importance of having somebody just to tell you, take time off, just breathe a little bit and get some distance and get the balance right again. So that kind of mentorship relationship is also quite important and an aspect of mentorship. And then leadership building mentorship. This is specifically for people who want to move into, see themselves as future leaders. Then you might look for a mentor that is strong in leadership or who has got some leadership skills and experience. Then how do you look at these different kinds of leadership? It's important to gather information about the specific or potential mentors, to gather information, meaning look at their networks. But what I as a person do if I want to see if a person, if I need information about somebody who's strong, for instance, in research, then I will go to LinkedIn and look at the profile on LinkedIn. Also, Google Scholar is another source that really helps a lot to see where people are publishing, what they're publishing on, etc. So do homework when you're looking for a specific mentor. Follow a mentor. Follow a mentor on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and look what they are doing, what they are publishing. Within the university setup, if you're looking for teaching and learning, that's not that difficult because you know what they are doing within your context or your university. However, if you want to look at research, that's not always that easy. You can also, of course, go to ORCID, look at the accounts of a mentor to see what they have published and what they have done. Then there are different informal and formal mentorship possible relationships within our university. For example, we have got a very structured mentorship program going, which is well managed, and where colleagues can indicate where they want mentorship, where they are looking for, they contact mentors, and then they set up specific goals on what they want to do and what they want to complete, set up deadlines, etc. But you also get informal relationships where you can just drop an email or a WhatsApp. And if there's a kind of a relationship going, a mentor-mentee relationship, then that informal mentorship becomes stronger. That people feel confident and have trust in a mentor or mentee to just do informal mentoring. That can also help. And this usually goes alongside with formal mentorship, or it can be a totally only an informal relationship or a mentorship relationship. Then multiple mentors are possible. In my career, I've had always different, and I'll say a little bit more about that later on, different mentors in my life, different people who were able to help me with leadership development, for example, when I needed that, mentorship with regard to teaching and learning, and then research. And it's good to have different mentors because not everybody is strong in every area. So it might be a good idea to have a mentor, for example, for research, and also a mentor for example, career leadership, career guidance, if you should need that. So multiple mentors, for me, in my opinion, a very good idea. And you don't have to do everything a mentor says or does. We all have different strong points and we have different personalities. So take what you want to take from a person, take it along with you, but you don't have to abide or really follow everything of that specific, of a specific mentor. And then lastly, don't let a mentor hold you back. If it doesn't work, then please look for somebody that can assist you and take you forward. So let's move on then to benefits. And we all know that there are many benefits of mentorship because it makes everybody strong if it works well. One of the benefits then, guidance and direction. You will go to a mentor typically for any kind of guidance and direction on where to go, what to do next, when a deadline is, etc., and what is realistic in this regard. Personalized learning, this is about personal growth, and as we've said, I've said in the beginning, it's every mentorship, mentor-mentee relationship is very, very personal. So you've got the privilege of working with one person. It's a one-on-one relationship. Set your goals and work on your goals to achieve what you want to achieve from and get from this relationship. Networking opportunities. Mentors usually have strong networks and different networks, and make use of those networks. And if you've got a good mentor, this mentor will allow you within these networks and also expose you to different people and different networks where you are able to grow further. Confidence boost. It's always good to have a mentor who can actually motivate you, compliment you, and assist you in what you want to do and what you have achieved. Being proud of a mentee is wonderful, and it boosts also the mentee. Then problem solving and critical thinking. A mentor is supposed to help a mentee to grow and to come up with, be able to, a mentee, sorry, to solve their own problems and to help them to develop critical thinking about their own situation and to come up with solutions. Then real life experiences. It's easy to read, for instance, if you're a researcher, it's easy to read books or articles or all kinds of texts on, for example, qualitative research approaches, but to really have a person who can show you and who can give you real life experiences in this regard will help you with regard to exact examples of issues that are happening. And then cultural sensitivity. In a multicultural environment where we are, it's always good to have different cultures and to be sensitive with regard to different people with different cultural preferences. Motivation and accountability. As a mentor, you will have, make your mentee accountable for different tasks that you set, and then motivate this mentee to do what you would like to be achieved. Set deadlines and make sure that they are met. Then exposure to new ideas. Every person has got new ideas, and it's good to have a mentor that can expose you to different ideas and different viewpoints and make you think and go into different directions to grow. And then your well-being, as I said, the personal support that you get from a mentor, if they really are caring people and they look after your well-being and your growth, then this is an added advantage. And then long-term relationships. I've had mentees in my own life many years ago, and they are still part of my life. So that's also an added advantage. Hopefully, if you have strong mentor-mentee relationships, these relationships will last a lifetime, for a very long time. And then if friendship can come out of this, this is also an added advantage and a benefit of mentor-mentee relationships. Of course, with all the good things, there are also challenges with mentoring that we are aware of. Realistically, time constraints. Everybody is very busy, so it can be that a mentor is very busy or a mentee gets caught up in different activities, and then the deadlines do not get met, and these can cause stress and frustration. mismatched expectations. If as a mentor, I've got expectations of my mentee and my mentee has different expectations from me as a mentor, it can easily also lead to frustration and negative relationships then, which you would not like to. These things you don't want in this kind of relationship. Then in unequal commitment, if one is committed and the other one not, it can also be a challenge. Communication issues. This is one of the biggest problems in a mentor-mentee relationship if there are no clear communication channels and issues are not communicated on a regular basis. Power dynamics, as I've said from the beginning, there shouldn't be any power issues, or a mentor or a mentee should not feel threatened. It should be an open two-way communication, and these kinds of stresses you don't want in a mentor-mentee relationship. And then cultural differences, be careful, and we should be sensitive of different cultural differences that might occur. And then over-reliance on mentorship. It is possible that mentees can be so reliant on mentors that they don't want to move out. So it's difficult to decide sometimes for a mentee to do their own thing and to move out of this relationship and do their own thing. Mentor burnout is another challenge that you can come across when a mentor is so busy that they suffer with burnout and are unable to assist a mentee in this relationship. So the solution to this, definitely ongoing early communication from both sides. That's in most cases, this really helps to solve many of these challenges. Then the key to a proper and a good and a safe, supportive mentor-mentee relationship is to match the type of mentorship to specific needs and goals of the mentee, creating a supportive environment that maximizes his or her growth and success in higher education. So the match is actually the key, to match what you want as a mentee with your mentor and all the specific things in that mentor that you're looking for. Then my own personal journey as a mentee, as I said, I couldn't be where I am at the moment if it wasn't for very strong mentors in the beginning of my life. When I started at the university in, 2007, I was a very young academic and I had no idea where to start with regard to teaching, with research, postgraduate supervision, etc. So at UNISA, we all have our offices, and I landed in my office next to Professor S. And Professor S was a full professor, very competent in everything she does. And she did at the time, she's retired now. She worked in psychology of education and I was in curriculum. So at some stage I went to her and I wasn't sure what to do. I had my first master's student and I was starting to do postgrad supervision. And I said to her, you know what, I've no idea how to do this. And I remember she let me sit down and we worked through this proposal of the student from beginning to end. And she was so patient and assisted me. And at the end, I was so, so grateful. But there was never a formal mentor-mentee relationship in those days. There weren't any programs, any mentorship programs. But I remember at the end, I thought by myself, I'm never, ever going to be where she is because I don't know where these things come from. I don't know how you choose a research question. I don't know how it links to the title. Where do you get sub-questions from, etc. And step by step, I got the confidence. But for me as a mentor, I had to go to her, and I never felt uncomfortable. And this is one of the things that I think one should keep in mind. You need to feel comfortable to work with this specific mentor. If there's some feeling of it's not working, or you feel you see the mentor is not really responding or is not really positive, then there might be challenges. So it's a whole matter of linking with a person that you feel comfortable with, a person that you really trust, and a person that you feel that knows much more than you do. So with regard to postgraduate supervision, she really assisted me afterwards with more and more students, and I never gave her lots of work or asked her to do a whole study, for example. Small bits and pieces I felt comfortable with to ask her about, and she was always more than willing to assist. At the end, although we worked in 2 disciplines, we published an article together. I was the mentee and she was a mentor, and she did, I think, 90% of the work. I ended up feeling a bit guilty about this, but it was a module I was teaching, and because we didn't have any commonalities in our disciplines, it was difficult. We never went into really research working together apart from research methodology, but only research methodology and then supervision, but never teaching and learning. Then Professor G was a person also very, very strong, also a full professor. He worked in research. He also assisted me with postgraduate supervision. Also a person I could relate with, I felt comfortable with. I went to his office. He was in a unit for research supervision at the time. Also no teaching and learning, mentor-mentee relationships at all. However, with personal development, because of his personality, and this is another aspect that I think is very important, because of his personality, I felt comfortable to ask him. He became kind of a father figure where I could go to and say, I've got this problem. Many of them were personal development problems, issues that I shared with him that I felt comfortable to approach him and ask him about that. So again, this whole trust relationship worked very well. Time management issues, also with career, actually he's assisted me throughout my life. He's also retired, and I still have a relationship with him as well. And then Prof P was a leader. He was my line manager at the time when I started at UNISA. 3 years down the line, we had a relationship where he felt comfortable to talk to me about leadership. And he taught me so much in informal leadership conversations. Later on, I acted on his behalf when he moved out. He's teaching at the moment at Free State University. And we still also have a relationship. So that's a mentor-mentee relationship that's only focused on leadership. And then lastly, Dr. O was a person, he was also my line manager at the time. And however, although it was a manager, he taught me so much of teaching and learning, not because of what I asked him, but because of how we did things. And this is another aspect of mentorship. The example that people set and you can relate with, this is somebody that you can think of approaching to be your mentor. And also personal development. Dr. O is at the moment working in Canada, and we still have a relationship. So you can see that different mentors were part of my life, and there are different others, informal mentors at the moment still, but these had a very specific effect on my life and as a mentor. because of the different roles that they fulfilled. And then choosing a mentor, and this now sharing with you my personal journey as a mentor, having different mentees. At the moment, I've got 4 formal mentees within the university, and also different roles, different relationship we have. I'm going to start with Dr. I. Dr. I was my master's student. She was later on my doctoral student. And we are at the moment working on our second article together. I assisted her in many times of my life with personal development, with career mentorship, where she had to make different decisions on mentorship. And she feels comfortable to contact me at any stage. WhatsApp communication we have, maybe, let me say, on more or less a monthly basis. And it's not a regular formal relationship, but it's more informal, and she knows I'm there for her and I know she's there for me. So this is a relationship also linked with research supervision, and then different other aspects as well, including research. Professor D, we teach in the same program together. With regard to teaching and learning, we speak on almost a daily basis. With regard to research, we have published 2 articles together. We're busy working on our 3rd publication. Personal development, we share aspects of any aspect of personal development that might come up, and also with regard to leadership, because of my leadership experience, many of these things where we are at the moment leading a collaborative project between 2 countries, and she's also taking leadership. And I know she's going to take over this leadership when I'm retiring in a few years' time. So this is another totally different kind of mentor-mentee relationship. And then there's Dr. L, which is a very new colleague at UNISA, and the only mentorship relationship we have is postgraduate supervision. So where I'm assisting her with postgrad supervision, and although it's not on a regular basis, there's also a good relationship where we have regular contact when it's needed. And then lastly, I'm closing with the last mentee, and this is, of course, Dr. Mphoentle Modise, who's in the meeting and who has organized this event. Dr. Mphoentle and I come a long way. Mphoentle, I think it's in 2012 when we met, and Mphoentle was then the administrator of the head of department. At that time, I was just starting as a head of department. Mphoentle was the secretary of the department working, and I'm not going to say more, but because I know she will talk about her role as a mentor and mentee. A very, very satisfying relationship, and she's been an excellent mentee and supportive, and everything, just as an example, the event of today shows that everything she does with passion, and she does so well. So I'm going to stop there with the mentees. I'm almost done. Then how to choose a mentor, just a few aspects, and I'm almost done. Aspects to keep in mind. Firstly, expertise. Look for the specific expertise that you would like to focus on. Look for a mentor that has these expertise that you would like to work on and you would like to develop. Second point, compatibility. This is, for me, it's key. The relationship must work. the personalities must work. There must be mutual respect, mutual trust, these things that we have spoken about. So it must be compatible, otherwise it's going to be difficult. Then the person you're choosing as a mentee to be your mentor must have a track record. As I said, go and do homework, look at what this person has done, if it's really in the field that you would like to develop yourself in. Then the person must be supportive and approachable. You must feel comfortable to approach this person whenever you feel necessary. As I've said, the person there should be some kind of connections, because you want to be part of a network and also have the possibility to build connections with people in your field, be it in research or teaching and learning. Then the mutual respect thing we've spoken about, which is quite important. And then lastly, as I said, trust is really the foundation for such a relationship. Then in conclusion, I'm just going to conclude with two aspects I thought of leaving with you. Firstly, a mentorship relationship is a two-way street. It's not just about what the mentor can do for you, but also about what you can bring to the mentor-mentee relationship. And then open communication, clear expectations, and a willingness to learn and grow are essential for a successful mentorship. So thank you so much, Mphoentle. I'm done. Thank you. And this is just the references. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, Prof. Berg. Thomas, I'm not sure. Should I just continue, take over and do my presentation?
Yes, I think so. Thank you, Prof. I think that would be very suitable. Thanks, Dr. Mphoentle. Thank you.
Don't you want to introduce me and say my beautiful Prof?
Yes, just sorry, one moment. So, just to introduce Dr. Mphoentle quickly, for us here today. So, as you have heard, Mphoentle has been our representative in SAIRA in the SAIRA early career work that has been done, and she has been the representative for the early career researcher work that SAIRA has been doing to support early career researchers for now nearly 2 years. Mphoentle is Dr. Mphoentle is based at UNISA, and as you know, the work that Dr. Mphoentle does is in as open open distance learning as well. She is a lecturer in the Department of Curriculum and Instructional Studies at UNISA, and her research areas include faculty and student support in distance education, e-learning, open distance e-learning, and academic and professional development, education technology integration and adaptation, and the use of e-portfolios in teaching and learning. And she also is interested in massive open online courses, MOOCs, and other open education resources, OERs. And she has led our early career researcher initiatives within SAIRA to reach out to other early career researchers to provide the kind of support we see today. But she's also received 2 prestigious awards for her outstanding PhD thesis from SAIRA and the Educational Association of South Africa, EASA, in 2022, and she received a Women in Research Emerging Researcher Award for her excellence in research in 2023 at UNISA. So without further ado, Dr. Mphoentle, let me hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Thank you so much. Yes, I actually took over Thomas. He did good foundational work for us in the SAIRA for the early career researchers. So what we are doing now, we are implementing some of the ideas that Thomas was part of at the beginning of the birth of early career researchers of SAIRA. Yes, choosing a mentor, Prof Berg took me back. I kept smiling while I was listening to you and thinking, wow, one of the things that I'm taking from you, Prof, and which is very practical and it's something that happened between us, is that a mentorship was a power-free relationship. I mean, I was once upon a time your PA, your secretary. Once upon a time, I was your student. You were supervising my study. And now we are colleagues and the mentorship is continuing. So never once did you make me feel less of, I wouldn't say human, but less of an intellectual. You've always respected me. You've always pushed me. But let me go into my quick, small presentation. So I know some of you have heard that I came from the PA to PhD, but I started with UNISA in 2001 as an online information dissemination officer, and I left in 2006, rejoined again in 2010 at the then Thabo Mbeki African Leadership Institute as a communication marketing officer. That was one of the very interesting days of my career. One of the interesting things there that happened was that I had bad experience with the leaders or the leadership of the institution, so much that I was willing to become a tea lady at any institution. So that's where I found myself being the secretary and personal assistant at the then first Professor Mabunda, and then shortly for also Prof Geesje van der Berg in the Department of Curriculum and Instructional Studies. I was, by the way, if I may, one of the highly qualified PAs, if I may, because at the time I had completed two honors degrees. I was halfway my MBL. So as the time went, both Prof van der Berg and Prof Mabunda realized that Mphoentle, this is not for you. We need to release you, and you've got more to contribute to this teaching and learning environment. And but before then, I started looking around and finding myself in this position because of personal situations that I found myself in. And then I started doing online short courses, MOOCs, if you may call them MOOCs, here and there. And I ended up doing the online certificate of technology with University of Maryland. Also, at the time, this certificate was only for academics. But because at the time, Prof Berg saw some potential in me, she broke the rules. Prof, you broke the rules for me and allowed me to do this course. And I passed it with flying colors. It allowed me to do my master's in education in open and distance learning again, which I passed with distinctions. I was supervised by Dr. Tony Mays. And so I went back in the College of Education, but I was eventually taken in 2018 employed as a lecturer. So I just want to quickly, just mention to you that she mentioned challenges of mentorship, relationship, or mentorship in general. One of the things that I had challenged, and I want to say again, we need to differentiate between postgraduate supervisors and mentors, because sometimes one can come in as purely your postgraduate supervisor, but then they can also come in and wear the head of a mentor. But I've met recently with one colleague or one learner rather from UP who was crying and saying she's going through supervisors, and it took me back that at the beginning of my PhD career, I had to go through 3 supervisors before Prof van der Berg and I, joined the journey together. one common thing with these three supervisors was the minute I approached them, they made me feel like I don't know nothing. Like, hey, I'm the professor, you are the learner, you're going to listen to what I'm saying. And the second thing, they completely took my topic and mutilated it. They changed my topic and I was frustrated. It was something that I didn't want to do. And I literally ran away. And I just want to tell you, you've got the right to run away if you find yourself in a situation where you are not respected and you're not treated really with that power-free environment where you are allowed to grow and make mistakes, if I may. So Prof van der Berg supervised my PhD together with Prof Olaf Zawaki from the Oldenburg University. And I must say, she always, as you can see, I speak loud, I've got a loud personality, and Prof van der Berg is laid back and relaxed and calm. You ask yourself how the two, met and how the two work together. But let me tell you, she talked about respect. Never ever in our relationship did I feel disrespected. And she was the game changer in my PhD career. So in 2018, when I joined in as a lecturer, I came in with my topic, the very same one that the three supervisors wanted to mutilate. And I showed it to her. And she said to me, look, Mphoentle, you just joined in a different role now. You are a lecturer now, and you're going to lecture, teach a specific module. Just hold on with the topic. Immerse yourself in the current module that you're going to teach and see if you can't do something within the line of your current work. And it was a great idea. She didn't say to me, hey, change your topic, it won't work because now you're teaching a different module, you need to change. No, she said, just pack it for now and evaluate the situation and then come back and see. And then she left me at that. And eventually I realized I've developed new interest. My topic was completely different from the other three, the initial topic that I had chosen. And that shows, that the mentee-mentor relationship really, it's a two-way thing. You don't meet a mentor who comes and become a parent. Sometimes as parents, you tell your children, thou shalt do as I say. No, mentorship is not supposed to be like that. And it was never like that with Prof van der Berg. And I can say to you, with my PhD, as Thomas has said, I've received 2 awards from SAERA and from IASA for, the good thesis. And I'm happy to put my name on that. And I always say to Prof van der Berg, it's our awards. And then she says, yes, Mphoentle, it's yours because you're a good student. But I want to say again, Prof van der Berg, you've always been an excellent mentor to me, and I thank you so much. I also just want to mention that as she said, that the different types of mentorships, and you may find yourself with 2 or 3 mentors looking into specific areas where you want to develop yourself. And there are quite a number of women that have contributed to my journey. Some are still contributing, as Prof van der Berg has said. And I just want to demystify the myth that women don't help each other. I don't know, I cannot invalidate your journey or your experience with women, but I have most people that have supported me, that have mentored me, are mostly women. They were mostly women. They were women of all colors. You can see the women of Black, white, Indian, colored, even foreign women from other countries are taking over. They see this, potential in me, and they're investing themselves, their time, their experiences, and other resources in developing me. And I also want to mention that one of those women is also the president of SAERA, Prof Maureen Robinson. I know she's like Prof van der Berg. She doesn't want her name mentioned then because those are the kind of people they are, And Prof Maureen Robinson, for example, she was asked recently, late last day, to contribute a chapter into a book. And this invitation was through her. And she said, look, Mphoentle, let's co-author together. And I was excited. I'm going to learn from my mentor, and I'm learning a lot. And in the middle of our writing, she says to me, Mphoentle, I think we're going to put your name first. So it's going to be Modise and Robinson. I'm like, why? I don't want to talk more about that, but those are the kind of people that have supported me. She doesn't feel the need to overpower me or to feel over important over me. She looks at the contribution both of us has put together, and she says we must all enjoy the rewards equally. So I think when you choose a mentor, as Prof Berg has said, take a moment to look at the people that you really want to journey with, and look at their personalities, their achievement, and how they can contribute to your journey. This is one of my favorite photos in my life. And this was not a pose. We didn't pose for this. The cameraman was just going and taking us. We were taking our photos for the when I was graduating for my PhD. And at some stage, Prof Berg was fixing me before we took a picture. And the cameraman, captured this moment. And it's exactly what it is, At the end of mentorship relationship, this is what the mentor does. Put a cap on her mentee and say, together we have walked this journey, and I am proud to put my name next to your name. And this is exactly what that picture says to me. It says to me, I am proud of you, Mphoentle. Well done. And you're ready to, I'm ready to let you go and be in the world and give back to others, So if you have really received good mentorship, I would really, really, really request that be ready to help others. Don't spread some love. Don't. I know that we've got bad experiences here and there, but let us focus on the positive, and whatever lessons that we learn from those bad experiences with bad supervisors, bad managers, bad mentors, there are other good people out there that can come in and help us. So with Prof Berg, I was always treated with respect. She empowered me. As I've said, I was an admin. When I was an admin, she saw that I've got good writing skills, and she saw that I've got an eye for e-learning environment, teaching environment. I didn't have a teaching experience. She allowed me, out of the goodness of her heart. She could have not signed the forms. I came to her and said, look, I'm interested in this because I was the admin behind the University of Maryland's learning management system. And I was interested in what the other academics were doing. And I went to her, and she immediately signed and motivated for me to join that. And she didn't say, you're not an academic, this is only for academics. And she really made me feel that I matter. As I've already said, that she never mutilated my or even attempted to change my topic, but she put me in a platform, in a space where I can critically think and evaluate my situation, evaluate my topic, and decide the future for myself. And then she was there supporting me, giving me guidance here and there. And she acknowledged that my dream was to become an academic. She never said, I hear people saying a lot of stuff, but she acknowledged my dream, and still she gave me space to breathe, and she challenged me to rise. One incident was when I was doing my PhD. It was during the hard lockdown, COVID-19 pandemic. And when you take your master's and your PhD studies, you always hear people saying, when you're doing your master's, you can't do anything else. You must just focus on this. Don't even think about writing articles But as I was collecting data during my PhD, there was a theme which was not necessarily related to my PhD topic, but because it was during the pandemic, people were talking about COVID-19 has taught me this, these are the challenges. And at that time, everybody else was writing about COVID-19 and teaching and learning and technology adoption and whatnot. And I decided to write. In the middle of my PhD, I decided to pause and write an article. I saw an opportunity to write at the time where everybody was speaking about this phenomenon. And she never said to me, no, you can't do it. You shouldn't do it. She allowed me space to do it. And I am proud to tell you that article, we presented it in the first UNESCO chair of ODL at UNISA. And together we co-authored it and we presented it. And the paper won the Best Paper Award. And that was my first paper from my PhD. My PhD was not even completed. I just saw this thick theme coming through my data. And she never said to me, you can't do it. It can't be done. You shouldn't do it. And so that's kind of the mentorship relationship that should be. It should be really mutually rewarding to both mentee and mentor. And after that, after I've received my PhD, then there was what now? Because we know that most often mentorship has a start with goals, has a start date with goals and an end date with an achievement, or perhaps with a redefining of goals. So it's even if we can continue in our journey together, it probably then a new goal comes into being. But after we successfully completed with my PhD, backed 2 awards for that PhD, then what, Prof Vanderberg, what now? I'm teaching, I've got this, what do I to know? Now she started talking to me about identifying my niche. So you need to be an expert in something. You need to build your research. Your articles must follow a certain line. And she didn't tell me what that niche must be. She said, as she talked about, mentorship must also bring critical thinking in mentees. And she left him to think about it while supporting me and, encouraged me to attend article writing retreats. And, whenever I'm writing something and I'm not sure about, I send to her and she look at it and it comes back with red pen. And I am not intimidated by the red pen, by her red pen in my work, because I know her heart is to make it good, is to enhance the quality of my work. So even if there's a lot of comments, I have learned from her to take them systematically. And this is something that I would like to impart to you. If you find that there are some people that give you a lot of feedback, don't be intimidated. Look at each comment one by one until you are done with it. And you realize at the end, when you read again, that, wow, it's something different. It's a different feel. So I want to conclude also, because it was just a response to Prof Berg's presentation. I want to say there is no shame in asking for help. There is no shame in asking for help. Really, if you feel you need help, if somebody you've seen, you followed on LinkedIn or Facebook or here in the Sahara environment, and you just want to ask, if I can't help you, or if Prof Maureen Robinson can't help you, there probably will be something or somebody that they can refer you to. The lady that I had a meeting with from University of Pretoria was referred to me by Prof. Michael Samuels. He is one of the executives in the Sahara. That lady, they were in some workshop somewhere, and she went to Prof and said, Prof, I've got this problem. And Prof said, you know what, speak to Mphoentle and see how she can help you or who she can refer you to. I'm not saying I know everybody, but I'm saying in your network, within your working environment, in your institution, find people that you can go and ask help from. If they say no, go to the next door and knock until one specific door that is designed for you, like Prof. Van der Berg was designed for me for a period of time, that you'll find such a person. So, colleagues, let us stop this vicious circle of unkindness to others. If you have received good mentorship, even if you have received bad mentorship, you don't want to continue dishing out negativity. Tell yourself, that was your experience. It was not good, but you're not going to give other people bad experiences. You've got good in you. You've got good experience. You've got expertise in whatever field there is. You've got something to give back to the community. And one person at a time, one person at a time. If you can mentor one person at a time, great. So I just want to thank you for being part of this mentorship. There's a lot that we can say about mentorship. The time is less, it's little, but go out there, look for information, ask questions, read profiles online, and avail yourself and knock at doors until something happens. But never, never, ever, ever give up. Never, ever, ever sit in a corner and say you can't help. You can't receive help. There is always help somewhere. And I thank you so much. Thank you so much, Thomas.
Thank you, Mphoentle. That was a really wonderful response, I think, and it covered a lot of ground for participants to see how important it is to grow from being in the position of a mentee to becoming a mentor. And as you said, it's something that you then share and bring that to other people. And the joy of that positivity that you explained and described for us, I think, is really important to grasp that you can benefit from sharing your knowledge and wisdom that others have shared with you and pass on the benefits to others, and that's a really important aspect of this relationship, that it continues with the next generation, if you want. um, Colleagues, we have time for question and answers now, and I would love to hear from you questions that you would like to put to either of our discussants today. And I can see there's some lovely comments about the inspiring journey that you have shared in the comments section and the presentations. I would love to see questions from the group. If people have questions, please feel free to write them in the chat to ask our presenters. Um, but I would like to just indulge maybe if while we're waiting for some questions, but if you want to put your hand up, I see a hand coming up. We have one person with a hand up. Okay. So if you would like to ask questions, you can put your hand up, but also feel free to write them in the chat as well. So if I can see one person has a hand up to ask a question. So let's go and I have questions that I can also ask as well. So look forward to seeing more questions in the chat. There are some claps as well in the chat from everyone. Okay, but some people say no questions from me, but I gleaned some very helpful insights from both of you. So many people saying that they got some really useful insights. So we did have one person with their hand up. Um, did that person want to ask a question?
Yeah,
Yes, Skip.
yeah,
Thank you. Please
it's my
proceed.
gift. Thank you. I just wanted to check what would the nature of mentorship in this space, in a conference space, entail? Because clearly all the things that we discussed, or at least some aspects of it, are easier to deal with in a more institutional basis. But in a conference, a setup where we meet only 1 week in a year, what would the mentorship entail? What would what will it look like, and what will it involve? I don't know if that question is clear enough. Thanks.
Thanks, Skip. Okay, so that's a question about specifically about conferencing. Um, and I'm just going to just see if there's another question, because sometimes it's good to have multiple questions to answer. Well, if there is no other questions, I'll put one in. Alongside that question there from Gift about the conferencing, I would like to ask about how you think, for the presenters, how you think mentoring can improve our academic community's work, because we often currently face struggles with funding and performing under incentives to publish or perish. Um, and do you think that mentoring can help academic communities in ways that improve their collegial governance, or can foster useful things to happen to help them change or grow? And if so, let us know. So that was my additional question. And the first question was about conferencing specifically. I don't see any other questions at this point, but we have one more. One more. One more person has their hand up. Mphoentle, can you ask your question as well?
So, and thank you so much for the very inspiring presentation. My question that I hesitate a bit to ask, but I feel it's important, rules of engagement, what can make, it's just top three, what can make the mentor-mentee journey relationship to thrive? And equally, what would you consider to be the top three that can break mentor-mentee relationship in spite of there being a rapport and the like factor? It's like these are really just the key factors to agree on, to ensure that you are constantly paying attention to, that will ensure a success out of the relationship. And those things that potentially could even take a relationship that was working well and take it to the completely opposite end where there is a breakdown.
Okay, thank you very much for that very clear question. So three things that can break the relationship to watch out for. It looks like the question about conferencing, my question about how mentoring could allow us to improve our academic communities, and maybe there is one more. Dale, do you have a question?
Thank you, Thomas. Yes, I do. And thank you so much to both of the presenters for sharing such an inspiring and wonderful journey together. My question is for Prof van den Berg. I would like to know, as someone who's got a mentor who frequently pushes me, but also knows when to take their foot off the petrol, to use a metaphor, how do you decide when to kind of gently nudge, when to point someone in a particular direction, and when to let them be, when to let them explore by themselves? If you have any kind of thing, or is it like a tacit feeling that you have in the moment? That would be really helpful to know.
Okay, thank you, Dale. So we have 4 questions. I'll just repeat them quickly. So for our discussants to answer, the top 3 things that could break a relationship, mentor, or things to watch out for. That was one of the questions. The question about conferencing, the question about how mentoring can help our academic communities grow and thrive, and Dale's question about the when to nudge and how to nudge and support people. Okay, let's take those questions for now, and we'll come back for some more. Dr. Mphoentle and Prof, are you happy to give some answers to these questions?
Thank you, Thomas. Can I start with Dale's question, because that was specifically directed to me? And Mphoentle, you can tell me what you would like to answer then afterwards, and we'll divide. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Dale, this is a difficult question, and again, it's personalities. My personality is I don't like to push people. Also with postgrad supervision, some of the students have asked me in the past, and I've got too many M&D students, but I love supervision. But anyway, that's besides the point. So many of them have asked me to set due dates, and I struggle with that, because for me I need to look at realities. And because we at UNISA have more work than time, I'm very cautious and very respectful of time. So I think for me, it's more important to have a discussion on this and to agree on certain due dates or certain things that you would, achievements or what you would like to do and have done at a certain stage, and then hold the mentee or the student accountable and say, okay, you've committed to the end of August. I'm waiting, very kindly, but I think that's, for me, that's most important to say. Let's agree on a date rather than tell anybody what I would like to have done by a certain day, because in many cases, I'm not able to really do what I want to do, and I have to give myself a bit more space. I hope I've answered your question, Dale.
Thank you. Very helpful, Prof.
Thanks.
Thank you, Prof. Yes, I'll take the one about conferencing, and perhaps you can take the one about improving our academic communities. I'll also add on that. And also Dr. Mphoentle Mope's questions. You are correct, Prof. van der Berg, when you say you're not the kind to push people, but I will also add and say, but you also don't stand in a way of a person like myself who had high energy. I never felt in any time, at any time that you wanted to restrict my movement. You did caution me. I remember sometimes I would be giving you, say, literature review chapter, and you'll come back to me and say, Mphoentle, this is too much. Cut it by so many pages, cut it so many, so many words. So although you don't push, but you do guide, and you don't stand in a way of a person, as I say, with high energy like myself. The question on conferencing, I want to give you a practical example of what happened with me. In 2019, one of the conferences at UNISA, one of the keynote speakers was Prof Olaf Zawaki Rechter. Go and Google him and find out who he was. He was talking at the time about a systematic review as a method of research, and that kind of interested me. I thought, this is something new, I want to do it, but how can I get somebody who can help me with that method? And I realized he's the perfect person. I mean, he's here. And this is, I know it's a week, but this is an opportunity for me to go and speak to this man, So don't be afraid, don't be afraid. This is your life. This is your future. If perhaps you can't approach the person, maybe get somebody else who knows that person to introduce you, but never leave an opportunity. If it's open to you, grab it. So I went to him. It was the first time I met him, to be honest. And I said, look, I'm interested in this method. Can I use it in my PhD? And he said, of course. And I said, look, would you be willing to supervise me? And he said, well, let's talk about it. And together with Prof van der Berg, we set up a meeting when he was not busy, and we talked about my topic and we unpacked it, and here we are. So I know it's just a week in a conference, but make use of it. And never be afraid to approach somebody and say, look, I'm interested in this. Is there any way you can help me? Or perhaps refer me to somebody else that would be able to help me. Prof van der Berg, I think I'll leave it at there. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mphoentle. I have nothing to add. I think you answered this so well. Thank you, Thomas, for the question about the academic agenda. How can mentorship relationships help to push this agenda? I definitely think it has a place. I don't have an exact answer because we have got formal mentor-mentee agreements, and there's a whole system in place in our university. Mphoentle might be able to help me, or anybody else in the university. I'm not sure if it's really helping. I think it's definitely something that needs to be pushed, but it also a formal form or a relationship does not really guarantee a successful mentor-mentee relationship.
Mm.
It has to come, in my opinion, from a mentee, but it's a relationship that needs to be really nurtured and has to be kept alive. But definitely it has a place to push the agenda and to improve teaching and learning and research. Definitely. There are examples of excellent mentor-mentee relationships and really so many outputs that are positive or outcomes that are positive that have come from these. But I don't know if there's really a recipe for success. Mphoentle, I don't know if you want to add this.
Yes, Prof. I think he also mentioned something about funds, lack of funds in terms of building a career or improving. Yes. We had a writing retreat recently, and one of our professors, Prof Geesje, came in to speak about funding, exactly that funding, and I learned there that there's external funding opportunities. Sometimes we put what what do you call them, Prof? Work clubs. What do you call them in English? Because what do you call them? Work clubs. And you just focus on what your institution can offer. And sometimes it's often so competitive. It's just a small bowl of sweeties that has this huge community that needs to get their hands in there, and you miss out on opportunities from outside of your organization. So look out there on online, on LinkedIn. Check what people are posting and go online and evaluate and send your application if you may, if you can. So there are external funding, and in the absence of funding, I think we just need to be creative and find ways of continuously developing ourselves and sharing our experiences and our expertise with other people, plowing back so that the learning continues. We don't say we don't have funds, we can't attend conferences, therefore I'm not going to write. You can still continue write. You may miss out on the opportunity to participate in a conference, but you can still write and submit in a journal and share your knowledge, share your research with a wider community. And who knows, somebody might see your work and might be interested in coming and investing in your work. So I think I'll stop there, Prof. Well,
thank you, Mphoentle.
Yes. There was a question about from Prof. Dr. Mope. I think maybe you can get it, and then I'll just add if there's a need to.
You're talking about Dr. Mphoentle.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Mphoentle, you asked a question, if I understood you correct, what are the 3 things that we think could really damage a good mentor-mentee relationship? Am I right?
That's correct.
Thank you. And I see there's another chat that's related question in the chat, which I'm also very curious about, because as you, Mphoentle, I think you touched on a very important issue. It's very easy to talk about things that work well, but it's important to talk about things that did not work out or do not work well, so that we can be on the outlook and be careful not to make the same mistakes. So for me, and this is just my initial thoughts, the first thing is trust. That if the trust relationship is broken, then it's lots of damage is done. Secondly, I don't think it's that important, and it can be, you can improve on that. It's communication. If people don't talk regularly or are not honest in the way they communicate, for instance, deadlines, for instance, commitments, or anything that responsibilities, for instance, etc. So the communication thing is the second thing. And another thing that might be another aspect that might be more serious for me is the power relation thing. If one of the 2 feels threatened or pushes another agenda other than the agenda that's on the table, then that can damage it because it will come out somewhere, somehow. So these are the three things, that I think are important that to look for and that can damage your relationship. Mphoentle, I don't know if you have different ideas.
I would like to add, but the time is not allowing us. We were talking about respect just now, so we need to respect our guest time. So I'll hand it back to Thomas. Yes.
There's a question in the chat, and I see Carl also has a hand up.
Yes, Carl has a hand up, and I think it might have to be the last question just to so that we keep to the timing a little bit. But Carol, could you let us know your question quickly for Prof van der Berg and Dr. Mphoentle?
Good afternoon, everybody. You can hear me, of course, can you?
Yes. Good afternoon, Carol. Yes.
Yes.
Wow, I know these two people so well, and I'm just so proud of Mpho, and of course the angel Prof Geesje. What a wonderful person I learned to know over the years, and I can only salute you. I mean, I'm so jealous, Mpho. You know, those times I've spoken to you during your journey in your office. I'm really jealous because I wish I had Prof Geesje at that time as my mentor, but it was not meant to be at that time. So congratulations. Yeah. The question I think I want to ask is, when it comes to article writing, Prof Geesje, what would be the ideal share in the contribution, since the outcome a financial reward, and how do you as a mentor approach that particular part of the mentor-mentee relationship? I'm asking this question because I believe supervisors are mentors in the research journey with their students, and of course they need to publish. And then what would be the ideal share in the work that will go into that publication, since it would be based on the financial reward as well? Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Thomas. Can I answer?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Carl, for that. This is a difficult question to answer, or not a straightforward question to answer. And I assume that you're talking about the research output from your doctorate, am I right?
I would say so, yes.
Yeah, okay. Again, the trust thing comes in. There needs to be open communication and trust. So if Mphoentle and I are co-authoring an article, she does most of the work because it's her research. But we have never said, you know what, I will do this and you will do what. There was always this open relationship. Mphoentle will say, okay, I will do the findings. Can you please do the literature research? Or can you please write the conclusions? So there's never been a 50-50 split ever between us or any of my other mentees or students or so. So it's something that you have to feel comfortable with and that you have to trust. There must be a trust relationship where you actually agree on who's going to write what. So no clear answer, but this is my opinion. Thanks.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Colleagues, we are getting close to time, and I know there's going to be there's so much more we could say about this topic, and there's a lot that has already been shared. And Mphoentle has also added that communication should be open from the beginning, and academics need to bring fun and collegiality, I guess, into the research environment. We also have been really keen to do this with ECR, to make a space where there is actually no know, well, you can ask questions if you don't know, and to make a space for early career researchers to learn from others. So these YouTube videos are part of that. We have a Facebook page which has also, we can put in the chat again, for early career researchers to connect with each other. But also we have conferences, the SAIRA conference this year, which will be held at Rhodes University. But we try to also do these events online. They are a fantastic way to open that space for us to enjoy and learn together. Colleagues, I'm aware of the time being an important factor here, and I really appreciate everyone taking the time to learn and be part of the events today with SAIRA. I would like to ask our president, Prof Vincent, if she would like to help us close today, and just some thanks for all of the participants and discussants. Prof, I hand over to you to close us off.
Thank you, Thomas. A jet just flew overhead as you were talking, so I don't know if you heard that, but I couldn't hear you were actually finished. But I hope so. So yeah, I will be very short, because I think it's very hard to say thank you to such wonderful people when there have already been so many thanks in the chat. So I think there are just a couple of corrections that I would want to make on what's been said. When Dr. Mphoentle Modise says that I've been her mentor, I think it's the other way around. She is actually a mentor to me, because for someone like myself, no, that's true. For someone like myself who's been through the mill, and then to meet somebody who is not only so passionate and enthusiastic, but produces such quality work and so efficient, that it's just been fantastic to work with you. So I think that takes me to a general point that we always have to remember, that the mentor actually learns as much from the mentee as the mentee learns from the mentor. It's a two-way relationship, and that's really the benefit to both. And I think Prof van den Berg actually embodied that implicitly in what she said. So thanks to all of you, and to Thomas for really having the vision around the early career portfolio, which I think you can see has really taken off. And I think to Prof van den Berg, I liked what she said about the real life experience, because in talking about her experiences and the relationship, it becomes human. It becomes not a textbook kind of relationship, but really understanding what it is for people to connect and learn from one another. So thank you very much to all of you, and to the attendees. I think at one point we had 60 people, which is fantastic. Finally, Thomas has reminded everybody about the SAIRA conference, about the Early Career Researcher Facebook, and I think you are by now all on our mailing list, so you will hear from everybody, from any forthcoming or upcoming events. So I think that's, I think I'll stop there, Mphoentle. I think probably you will close the meeting, and wish everybody a very nice afternoon further. Thanks, all of you.
No, thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof. That's fine. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks all. Thanks everyone. Thanks again.